All right, welcome back to the Run.down post-game show here on the Strickland YouTube channel, Strickland Twitter, and if you're listening to this today after Strickland Podcast Network. I am Sam. I am joined by Tyrese. The Knicks win 119-110 versus the Atlanta Hawks. Before we get into all of that, of course, though, BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform for your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest section of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, and UFC, head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. So the Knicks get a sort of much needed win versus this Atlanta Hawks team, who has surprisingly been able to beat the top teams in the East with kind of not relative ease, but they've been convincingly beating some of the top teams in the East. And the last time they faced us, of course, Trae Young had that viral moment. So today's game had a little bit of extra motivation, even though Jalen Brunson says there was not. But yeah, I mean, this game kind of this team they kind of led the way with defense, and the bench actually provided some much needed contributions today as well. So Jalen Brunson, who has struggled in these matchups with Dyson Daniels this year, had a nice game of 34 points and 6 assists on 67% shooting from the field on 3 of 5 from 3. So it was good to see him kind of, master this matchup, and even got Dyson Daniel fouled out in the final seconds of this game. So it was great to see Jalen Brunson do that, and it was great to see Mikal take advantage of the Trae Young matchup in this game as well. They had Trae Young guarding him a bunch, and especially in the second half, that third quarter, he scored a bulk of his points and took advantage of that matchup, and that's something that we kind of wanted to see in the last matchup. The last time these two teams faced off, so that was also very encouraging to see. But yeah, overall good game. Kind of wish I actually went to this game now. I was considering going to it, but I made the last minute decision not to. But yeah, huh?
Is it whack?
I know. I'm still recovering from my cold and like not really feeling all the way there. So, and I woke up around like 12 o'clock and I was like, do I really want to rush myself to get ready to go all the way to New York City? And like, I'm gonna go to the game tomorrow though. I got to celebrate my birthday somehow. So.
Turn up, Sam's turning 30. Let's go.
Whoa. Let's not add years that are not necessary. Turning 26 on Wednesday, but yes. Terry, your thoughts on this game? And yeah,
I thought it was a good game. Obviously very spirited. We did it for MLK. Shout out to MLK. I thought Brunson torched. He absolutely torched Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels had no answer for him. It was obvious very early. Brunson just kind of got to his spot in the mid range and just torched them all game. I thought they were able to incorporate Mikal in the third quarter by putting him in the action with Trae Young, which again, it took 5 years to get to that point, but we got there, so I'm happy. They finally realized that Mikal Bridges is 6'6" and Trae Young is 6 feet, and if Mikal screens for Brunson, Trae either has to guard Brunson on the switch or he has to guard Mikal. And suddenly Mikal goes off for 14 points in the quarter. So obviously good process there. Really positive to see. And Mikal had one of his better games of the season. He had 26 points and 4 assists. So you clearly saw that the Knicks are actively looking to get Dyson Daniels and Trae Young in their actions in order to really rousing success. That was really the game. It was like those guys did not have an answer for either one of those players, and the Knicks were able to ride that to victory, really.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said before, the bench kind of gave some valuable minutes in midway through the first quarter. Dibs actually had to play 9 guys. I mean, due to foul trouble, of course, but he had to play 9 guys through the first quarter, and that's like rare that we see that happen. But the guys off the bench actually gave like pretty solid minutes and were able to like do things in their minutes. McBride gave you 9, 3, and 3 off the bench with 1 steal. Precious Chua gave you some blocks and gave you some steals and had some rebounds off the bench. In campaign, always providing the necessary fire and willing to take those pull-up threes in transition that not a lot of guys on this team are willing to really take. That's something that we've missed from past players who have come through here. So it's good to see campaign continue to provide, this positive bench spark. And on the other side of things, Trae Young did not have a really good game. Had 25 points and 9 turnovers. Just really bad game, especially in that it seems like he just wasn't really willing to take twos tonight. Like he just was wanting to take threes, and that kind of showed, especially in that last position that Cat had him on that little isolation on. And Cat really did a good job of like not fouling him, which is what Trae was going for. And yeah, I mean, we can talk about the refs and all of that tonight as well as we get throughout the rest of this post game, as this was a brutal game for the refs. Both teams had to use both their challenges through the first 2.5 quarters, basically. But yeah, I mean, your thoughts on Trae Young and the job that the team did on him tonight?
Yeah, I felt like they gave him a lot of threes, and I believe he hit 6 of them. But I'm pretty sure he hit 5 in the first half. So after halftime, the adjustments that they made him defensively were really sound. I kind of felt like they just stifled him a bit. He really had no answer for the length that the Knicks presented. Mikhail was really effective against him defensively. I thought Deuce gave you good minutes. I thought the fact that they could switch with Cat was really potent, especially because right now they're the 6th seed, the Knicks are the 3rd seed. If the playoffs started today, that would probably be the first round matchup. So the fact that you could look at having Cat on switches and him being able to hold up defensively was really sound to see. Yeah, I just think the Knicks played really good defensive game plan on him. I think the Knicks have a lot of different options for him. I mean, they put Landry Shamet on him at times, and I feel like Landry Shamet did his. I thought Landry Shamet did a pretty good job on him. Yeah, I felt really happy about what they did on Trae Young defensively. I just kind of feel like you see 27 points and 6 assists. It's like, yeah, they kind of stifled him all game, and he wasn't able to do much of the free throw bullshit, which is really good. They didn't really let him feel comfortable, which is a good sign to take away from that.
Yeah. And you saw that because he just wasn't really getting to like his floater and stuff like that, which is like something that he would normally do in these games. But yeah, going back to this game, I mean, even that second half, Mikal really turned things on. Cat started to turn things on in terms of like, I felt like he was doing a better job of passing in that second half as well, or at least in the first half, I mean. And in the second half, Josh Hart really had a really bizarre first half. I think we can all agree, especially defensively, it felt like he was kind of lost out there. But in the second half, he did a much better job and just did a better job of like getting out in transition and creating opportunities that way. So that was really encouraging to see. As we all know, Josh Hart can be sort of a wild variable if he's not all the way locked in. And we kind of saw that in previous games as well. And, you know, he had the shoulder thing and all that. So I think that this was a good second half performance from Josh Hart tonight as well. Not tonight, but today. One person that has been very enigmatic, I would say, is OG Anunoby. Kind of a quiet game from him in a lot of ways. Played 41 minutes basically tonight, but had 8 points, 9 rebounds. Only took 4 shots. Your thoughts on OG Anunoby so far this year?
Cardi OG. Good rebounding today, I guess. I mean, I just kind of feel like he's just been giving up baseline a ton. He's been getting attacked on switches, which is like that's the thing you're not supposed to be attacking OG on. And the fact that like teams are having success being able to seal him and being able to shoot over him is kind of worrying. Um, like it's not like he had a bad game; it was just kind of disappointing. And I feel like the majority of the season he's been pretty disappointing. Um, but I mean, he also played 40 minutes, so clearly, like he was effective with his minutes. It just kind of feels like you want more coming out of him.
The one thing that's been interesting to me for OG this year is that he's actually been healthy this year. Like he hasn't missed a game, right?
No,
He hasn't missed a game, so that's interesting in that fact. You're wondering if those pauses in his play allowed him to recalibrate himself, I guess. But yeah, no, it's very interesting. We'll see what happens with OG. I mean, hopefully the All-Star break will be good for him, and that will be a time where he can reset and come out of the gate strong. But yeah, I mean, I think that he had a really strong start to the season, but it's kind of really been like a downwards, not spiral, I guess, but like a slow trend downwards since that Denver Nuggets 40-point game. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with OG. But yeah, I mean, right, let's see what else. I mean, we kind of talked through all the starters. Let's get to some comments. Shout out to everyone that's here. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. We have here, Trae Young in the fourth quarter today. 1 of 8 from the field goal, and the one field goal was the garbage time make. 3 turnovers, 2 fouls, and had that 1 technical. As I mentioned today with this game, the referees kind of really, I don't want to say they dictated this game, but like they really messed up, I would say, parts of this game in terms of like the flow. The Knicks and the Hawks both had to use both of their challenges. They were successful in all of them because the refs were that bad. But I feel like the referees kind of really got into the Hawks' heads a little bit more towards that second half. You saw Dyson Daniels. He fouled out. You saw that they also Dyson Daniels also got a technical, right?
Yeah.
He also got a technical. Trae Young got the technical. So like the Hawks really started to unravel in that second half. And I think the refereeing was a major part of that. And we've seen how this can affect the Knicks in many ways too. We saw how, previous games that Josh Hart, I mean, Cat even got a technical tonight. But yeah, I mean, I really hope that this team doesn't allow the refs to, get them out of games. I mean, I know it can be very annoying, even as us as fans to see how badly they can screw over a team and like ruin our flow and stuff like that. But, hoping that the Knicks don't allow this to be a thing, because it was a thing for parts of this year already. And Tibbs kind of addressed that. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought the refs were fucking atrocious. I thought the fact that like the refs had to burn through the coaches had to burn through both of their challenges by the third quarter. So like it just took a lot of the flow out of the game. Everybody was kind of frustrated with it. Cat was getting whacked all game, and he only got 2 free throws. That didn't make any sense to me. Because like it wasn't like soft contact that's like marginal. Like he was legitimately getting hit across the arm every time he drove.
He has probably one of the worst whistles, and I know we've seen Randall get a bad whistle here as a Knick. We've seen countless players have bad whistles here throughout the years. It never ends with the Knicks apparently. But Cat, I feel like always has gotten, I guess I don't want to say always, but like I never really watched him that much as a Timberwolf, except for like, of course, nationally televised games. But I know he's playing a similar style that he played in Minnesota, so I can only imagine that this has been going on for a while with him, that we just didn't notice. But yeah, he gets a really bad whistle, and like
the whistle's always been fucking bad for him. And like I think Minnesota fans were like, "Oh, he's gonna finally get that New York whistle," and it's like, dude, the New York whistle is probably worse than the Minnesota whistle. I'm not Like,
Yeah, no,
he couldn't
it's
shoot.
way worse.
He couldn't shoot, and he was just driving all game, and like it did not matter. They were still actively trying to yeah. It just, I think it just really messed with them. They kind of took him out of the game, but I mean, they were able to power through, which is good. But yeah, that whistle was atrocious.
Do we think that the thumb is an issue for Cat today? Why he didn't shoot much?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's probably
And he
still
also has,
sore.
and he has also that bone chip in his wrist, I believe, as well too. So
Yeah, the shooting I expect to be rough for a little bit while he like has to adjust to playing with the pain and adjust like his thumb sprain and everything like that. Like I think that was probably a big reason why he was driving a lot this game. So yeah, I think that would be a minute for him to like adjust to everything, but I definitely think it's an issue.
all right, yeah, we'll see how that turns out for him, because like the shooting has also been a huge part of his success this year. Like that's the main reason why like he's been such a dynamic scorer. So we'll see how much that changes not only his play style but the rest of the team's play style. Like maybe they start leaning into Mikal more like they did today, or maybe it becomes matchup dependent. So we'll see how that evolves as this injury heals hopefully over time. But yeah, I mean, Jalen Brunson was able to hold things down with his 34 points, and Mikal was able to hold things down with his 26 points. So no need to really complain about Cat's production. He gave us 13 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, almost a triple-double, even with the hurting hand. So we'll see how that develops. Ace Bouchard said the Hawks would be a legit threat in the East if they had a good point guard. Sure. It's so interesting because like they're able to beat like the best teams in the East, and then like they like lost to the Wizards twice. So like it's just the interesting dichotomy of this Hawks team.
The Hawks are weird to me because their ball handlers are so weak aside from Trey. I don't like their ball handlers. I think someone like Dyson Daniels offensively just does not give you enough. Even though the defense is really good, offensively.
And it's so weird because Dyson Daniels looked like he was having like a offensive leap to start this year.
I think it was just more like his finishing. His finishing's always been good. I mean, it's going to be good because he's 6'8". But yeah, like he's still a really bad shooter or really bad free throw shooter. He's been pretty bad for them actually. Like he has a negative net rating. Like he has a negative net rating, and he's probably going to get first team all defense, which is insane to me. Like
that's wild.
I think Dyson Daniels is just one of the more overrated players in the game. Like he gets a lot of steals, and the defense is good, but he's not great. And
he was much better in like the first like 2 months of the year. Like there was a little bit of most improved player buzz. He was averaging like I want to say like close to like 19 a game or something like that for the Hawks to start the year. But then he kind of like just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, like the Hawks have basically like 3 real shooters on the roster, like 3 guys who get the volume up. It's Trey, it's DeAndre Hunter, and it's like it's Bogdanovich on like a good day, but Bogdanovich has been kind of off all season because he's been working his way back from injury. They're weird to me. They're very weird to me. If the Knicks play them first round, which I think they probably will end up doing, this is like the game that convinces you, okay, like keep Mitch. Because I thought their rebounding, like we had 49 rebounds, they had 49 rebounds, but it just kind of felt like the Knicks were just more impactful with their rebounds. And
in the second half, for sure. I feel like in the first half, the Hawks were a little bit more dominant on the glass. But yeah, in the second half, we definitely turned things up, and I think that's when Josh Hart like kind of like locked in a little bit more. And this was also one of Cat's like weaker rebounding games too, so that's also to take into account as well.
Yeah, I don't think they really like their big rotation is kind of weird. Clint Capella's coming off the bench, but when Clint Capella was in the game, the Knicks were winning. because Clint Capella just does not provide an answer to the Knicks bigs. I felt like Precious Achua was able to have like success against him, which is crazy. Okongwu's good, but he's too small. Jalen Johnson was invisible, which is surprising. Like he didn't take.
He had a really good game against us last time, which is wild because like today he just didn't have it. And granted, this is like his second game back from the shoulder injury that he had. So, but yeah,
I think they're a good team, but I think the offense is just not where it needs to be, and defensively, they're good, but they're not great. So I think when the Knicks play to their potential, I do think that the Knicks are the better team.
It's also a matter of like, are the Knicks always going to play to their potential? Because like that's been the whole thing for the Knicks this year. It's like they've been so inconsistent, and like that's why like every game it's like you don't know which version of this team you're really going to get most nights. Which I guess adds to a little fun to this year. I guess that a lot of fans kind of like that unpredictability. So. For those fans that really like the unpredictability of a team, this Knicks team is the perfect team for those fans, Who knows how the Knicks are going to come out tomorrow against the Nets team who should have no business being on the same floor with them tomorrow, but we'll see how that game goes.
As long as it's a blowout, I'm happy. I cannot do another close game with the Nets, man. Like,
hey, man, like almost every single game we've had with the Nets this year has been a close game. I mean,
last one was not good for my health, dog.
One of those games actually made me like a decent amount of money, so I can't complain about the close games. But I mean, there's no Cam Thomas this time, so there should be no close games. Cam Thomas is usually the reason why games against the Nets are close. Something about him versus us, even going back to when we first started this live stream, these post-game live streams. One of the first like reactions was against Cam Thomas when he hit that ridiculous 3-pointer in MSG. So it's something about Cam Thomas versus the Knicks. He's not playing most likely, so don't have anything to worry about there.
Also Dennis Schroeder, so that's good.
And no Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, like Dennis Schroeder is red against us. I don't know why.
I mean, it does say it here on the injury report, though, Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas, both game time decisions. So,
all right, dude. Yeah, they're gonna be healed as soon as they fucking.
Well, we know Ben Simmons loves playing against us. We know Cam Thomas loves playing against us. So you never know. So that might end up being a close game tomorrow. Knicks coming off a back-to-back. This is the second night of a back-to-back. So who knows? And it's on TNT. So the script writers can't allow for too many blowouts on national TV.
This is nasty. That's so nasty.
Part of NBA Rivals Week. NBA Rivals Week, the two matchups are Nets Knicks and Nuggets Sixers with no Joel Embiid. Because it's supposed to be Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic, and like there's no Joel Embiid.
He was never gonna play in Denver.
Yeah,
he does not play in Denver.
Yeah, no, he never does. So I don't know what the NBA schedule makers were cooking with that one. They also need to change up like who each team's rivals are and stuff like that. Like some of these just don't make any sense. But
like, why is our rival still the Nets, man?
Like they're nowhere near us. Like our rival is like the Sixers, just based on like the last playoff series, or like the Cavs if you want to do like overall like past matchups and whatnot. But hey, I don't make the NBA schedule, unfortunately. So, Jason Aravalo says our defense stayed strong despite the refs being shitty. Still too much complaining for my liking, though. Definitely agree with that there, and we could have mentioned that before. But yeah, the defense. That's another thing that's been inconsistent with this team this year, and that's why a lot of these games have kind of been up and down. The defensive intensity isn't always what it is today. Granted, I did appreciate the defensive intensity, like from guys like McCall. Like we saw him clamp up Trey on a possession that really kind of got the Garden going in that first quarter, and that kind of set the tone. That kind of set the tone for the rest of the night. So, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that one possession McHale had where he kind of clamped Trey and called it a 24-second violation, I believe.
Mm-hmm, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, like once that happened, I feel like the Knicks were like really able to build momentum off of that, and it kind of built that energy up. And the Knicks, I thought they were just competing. Like the compete level was where I think it needed to be for the most part. I thought you saw guys like Cat take pride on that end defensively. I think you saw like Josh Hart in the second half do more. I think you saw Brunson like really start to like get involved defensively, which is really good to see. I also think the early subs were helping a bit. I think Brunson was the only one who played the entire first quarter, but like the fact that two compressors come in and those guys were giving you some good minutes defensively. I thought Shamit played a really good defensive game, even though he only played like 10 minutes. He was competing really well. I wish he took more threes, but I thought his compete level was there. Yeah, I just thought Knicks defensively, like after that play from McHale, like they were really starting to get into it, which is a good development to see.
Yeah. Kenny Mayer says 26 threes tonight from the Knicks only attempted 26 threes tonight as a team. And that's like with OG taking 1, which is bizarre. Mikal taking only 2, which is kind of bizarre even for him. But yeah, their effort was really good. And he says they finally attacked Trae Young defensively, which was very encouraging to see. But tough to pull away from teams if you don't take threes.
Yeah. Like they just kept beating him inside the paint. Like you wish you had more threes, but also like you look at that game and it was like McHale was getting anything he wanted as soon as he crossed. As soon as he put Trae in the action, like he basically just like got anything he wanted in the paint.
Well, he got anything in that like 12 to 15 foot.
Yep. Same thing with Brunson. Like Brunson would get Dice to Daniels on a switch, or he would get Trae Young in the action, and they would just like get floaters and mid-range shots off. I think Brunson had like 3 possessions in like the third quarter where he just hit a step back mid-range shot, and Dice Daniels had no answer. Like, I would like to see them take more threes. I think the only people to like really take threes in that game, it was Campaign, obviously Deuce, but yeah, like I can't get mad at the fact that like they were taking the threes they were taking because they were just so effective on those shots. It just sucks that like the Hawks got hot from 3 in the first half. I think in the first half, they hit 9 threes, and in the second half they only hit 6. So.
And to start that fourth quarter, DeAndre Hunter kind of really got active from 3 as well.
Yeah, pretty sure he hit 3 threes in the fourth quarter, or 3 threes in the second half. So.
Yeah, and like if he just had it going even more, which we've seen him do in the past, or even Bogdanovich, who didn't have it going at all tonight, like this could have been a totally different game. But thankfully it wasn't, and thankfully, the Knicks were able to take advantage of that Trae Young matchup finally. And yeah. Jordan Bub says most 30-point games by a Knicks guard, Richie Guerin, 87. Jalen Brunson still climbing up, trying to get to that 87, 68. Walt Frazier, 61. So I think this is just going to be a constant climb towards Richie Guerin now for Jalen Brunson.
19 more games until he ties him? I do math right? Yeah, 19 more games. How many games are there? We have 36? 37? 37.
Probably won't get it this year, but probably will get it by next year at the very most.
38. So like 19 30 balls in 38 games. Not impossible.
If Cat is as hampered by this hand thing as he is for like a temporary time being, and Brunson really does have to turn up the scoring, then I can see it.
Definitely next year for sure, though. Yeah.
But for sure, next year we'll definitely surpass this and hold the record.
All that matters is two more, and we pass Julius Randle, and that's what matters.
For Knicks all time.
For Knicks all time.
30-point game.
Yeah, just 2 more. That's all we need. You give me 29 the rest of the season. Just give me 2 more 30 balls.
Jordan Bub also says today was the first time all season that 9 different Knicks played more than 9 minutes in a non-blowout. Interesting. New York outscored Atlanta by 17 points in the second half. And yeah, they did a really good job, especially in that third quarter. I think that's where they really kind of took a hold of this game. They scored like 40 points in the third quarter, which kind of brings us back to like the Knicks during that like 9-game win streak where the offense was really rolling and stuff like that. So hopefully the Knicks can start to get back to more of that as they head towards the All-Star break. It would really be nice to finish out this first portion of the season out really strong. But yeah, we'll see how they continue to, because some nights you're not going to really get this production from the bench, and I think that's kind of what helped this team in this game today is like the production that we got off the bench. It's nothing really crazy off the bench, but it was still better than what we've seen for prior games, even leading up to this one. So yeah.
Yep. It was good. It was just good to see the guys like get run. I think campaign just being able to like make shots that the Knicks kind of need them to make makes it so that like the rest of the bench unit can get run, which is ironic because campaign plays the least of the bench guys for the most part. Like he only played 12 minutes tonight, but like Precious and Deuce played more. But I feel like weirdly like if campaign has it going, and he had it going tonight, 10 points, 3 threes, including a 4-point play, plus 15. The offense that he provides with Cat has been elite. Like they've been an elite 2-man pairing all season. I think their offensive rating is like 134. Like it's insanely high. It's just like he's not consistent as a scorer. But I feel like the fact that he's been able to do so many different things for this team, like what do they need scoring, what do they need distributing, it's been really
Yeah. Ariel Suarez brings up that the Knicks looked way more smooth communicating on defense today. Yeah, I mean, they definitely look better defensively, and you're just hoping this carries over to the next game, but that has been the problem with this team, the consistency on both ends of the floor. Offensively, we kind of have a baseline level of what we're going to get, but defensively, it's where it kind of fluctuates. So you're hoping that today was a good first step in the right direction back to how things were at least starting to look like they were trending.
Yeah.
Let's see what else
I'm hopeful the defense can get to where it needs to be. This was a good start.
Eshmaster says, I'm like 90% bought into the conspiracy that Adam Silver told the refs to give the Knicks a shit whistle every game because he hates Stolen. It's funny because like Adam Silver always makes it like a point to like let people know that he is a Knicks fan and he was a Knicks fan growing up. So like, I don't know. I feel like the refs themselves have personal agenda. Certain refs have personal agendas against the Knicks, either due to certain players that they don't like, especially like if like Josh Hart.
Who don't like OG Anunoby?
I think some refs don't like. I think some refs don't probably like don't like Josh Hart. I think some refs just don't like Karl Anthony Towns just because of how much they complain. I think that's it.
That's fair, but like, I don't know, like. The first
if you got Cat constantly being like foul, like every time you like are reffing one of his games, you're probably gonna get like really annoyed, and you're gonna be like, "All right, man, like I just don't like you now." Like, if someone's always like, I have kids that are constantly whining to me, and like, you don't think I'm gonna be more annoyed with those students than other students who are not whining? Like, come on. You got to put it in perspective. So like I can see where some of these refs come from, but like, bro, it's a basketball game. Like, you got to like understand if like some guy is constantly getting slapped, like he is going to complain a lot. So like, you kind of just have to make the right call sometimes. But you know, they probably use the same excuse that they told Julius that he's too big and he's too hard to officiate. So
calling another man too big is crazy. But
the ref said it, not me.
You repeated it, bro. You even say quote unquote. That's crazy.
I'm still recovering from being sick, so my mind isn't fully all the way there. So,
all right, bro, you got it. But yeah, the free throw disparity like even out. We had 21 free throws. They had 22. It just sucks because like all of them were on Brunson. and some of them were like technical fouls. But like, and Brunson also missed 4 free throws. That was fucking weird.
Kenny Mayer also says that you can't tell me the refs didn't look at the halftime numbers and see the 17-4 free throw disparity and then try to even it up. That's why it looks a lot more cleaner at the end of the game as well.
Yeah, but like if I'm the Knicks, I'd rather have that in the second half than the first half, especially given.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They were close in the first half, so I mean it worked out for them. It was just it was a weirdly officiated game, like for both ends. Like both people walking away from that, going like, yeah, the refs suck. Like I get it.
Yeah. Kenny Mayer also brings up that the Hawks are a good team because they have a ton of wings and are a deep team. At least 2 to 3 of their role players will be on offensively, and their defense keeps them in games. Yeah, that's the benefit of like depth, basically. Like you see teams like not Minnesota, Memphis. Like they'll have like a random like Jalen Wells giving you like 5 threes game. They'll have Santi Aldama giving them like 6 threes off the bench or whatever it may be. Like you can have like random role players show up for you, even if like one of your like main guys isn't really going, and you can still pull out a win and stuff like that. So, that's the benefit of these teams that are like deep at least, but like, you still want to at least have like 2 to 3 main go-to guys that are like give you like some baseline level of like success. So
yeah, definitely. I think that's just the Knicks are just kind of missing right now. It's like go-to scorers. Obviously, DeAndre Hunter has been a 6 Man of the Year candidate. Like I'm pretty sure he's poised to win it. I haven't checked updated odds, but I'm pretty sure that he really has like a real chance to win it. How the hell is Peyton Pritchard minus 200? What?
Because of the start that he had to the season. It's really hard. It's really hard to make up ground after a guy has like a really, really strong start to a season.
That's
on the books at least.
That's what.
And even with like biases within reporters, because a lot of reporters, they remember the strong starts that guys had to the season. And like even if you're like really good the rest of the way, it's like really hard to make up ground.
Yeah, that is insane to me. Yeah, I would probably put money on DeAndre Hunter then. Like if that's a positive, like I would probably put money on that. Like,
it's plus 500 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I would absolutely put like $5 towards that because DeAndre Hunter's gonna fucking win it. But yeah, like the fact that
he's definitely getting some more buzz now. That he's been like consistently playing at this level for like quite some time now. So
yeah, that is wild to me. Like Peyton Pritchard has just been like okay the last month and a half.
Yeah, he hasn't really been that explosive as he was. Like he was having like 25-point games off the bench with like 6 threes to start the year, and like that really like skyrockets you into that conversation. And we all know how Boston, media kind of runs these awards and stuff like that. So we saw it with Malcolm Brogdon. We saw it with Marcus Smart getting DPOY because they wanted to give it to Robert Williams, but he ended up getting hurt, and then they had to give it to some Celtic. So we've seen this over the last couple of years. Which
was the nastiest shit I've ever seen, dude. They had to give it to some Celtics, so they just gave it to him. Like, that's so nasty. But, yeah, I would definitely put money on DeAndre Hunter. Yeah, the Hawks play like the thing with the Hawks is like they have DeAndre Hunter, which makes their bench look so much better. Like granted, some of their guys like Craigie and Garrison Matthews are like solid shooters, but I don't think they're like marginally better like a Campaign or something. I think it's just the fact that they have like a go-to scorer, a guy who can be 20 off the bench like DeAndre Hunter, who's like taking a real leap in terms of like being able to get to the free throw line and doing some stuff off the dribble.
Wild seeing a guy take a leap that late in his career, but we have seen it before, our very own selves. So not impossible. Jason Aravalo says we should be able to exploit mismatches on every team with the offensive firepower we have, but it's like they barely try to do that.
I feel like a lot of the offensive mismatches that they get kind of lean on Josh Hart. I think like people are trying to put their weakest defender on Hart. And Hart is like he's a good scorer. I mean, he had 14.95, and he was pretty efficient in his touches. I'm pretty sure he went 7 for 12, and 7-11 from inside the arc. So like, I don't think he was a bad scorer. I just think it's like I think they have a good. I think they do a good job. Like that's obviously why the offensive rating is so high. It just kind of feels like you want Josh Hart to do it more, but I mean he's already giving you 14 a game. I don't know how much more he can realistically do.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of see where the Knicks fall into trouble with this again, especially against like really good teams. Like when we saw against OKC, like OKC put Hartenstein on Josh Hart in that first matchup to really kind of stop the Knicks from exposing like Hartenstein's like bad defense against like big men who can score. And like the Knicks really tried to like force it with Cat versus J-Dub. So like against really good teams that like have these kind of like plans where they're able to like either, really switch these mismatches really well or just put a guy on Josh Hart, like you said, like that's where we're able to like not see the Knicks be able to exploit these mismatches. But it is definitely there. It's just a matter of like against those really good teams. So I'm really interested to see, when the Knicks play like teams like Boston again and the Cavs again, how do they, try to exploit a mismatch on those teams?
Yeah. It'll be like I do think like they're like tapping out the limits of how much they can exploit mismatches though. I think if anything they probably do it too much. Like because you see so many times they try to like seal off in the paint. Like OG gets his post touches that way, exploiting mismatches. McHale gets his post touches that way, exploiting mismatches. And it's like, I'd rather them just kind of play straight up. Like the mismatch they should be exploiting is hard, and otherwise, like, just catch and shoot OG, cut McHale.
Because like what we see when they try to force feed those mismatches in the post is sometimes it leads to a lot of turnovers too.
Yeah, because they can't dribble. Like they can't dribble. Like
or like they throw it to an angle where they can't catch it and it's like out of bounds, or like the defenders catch it and then like it's a transition opportunity where we've seen the Knicks struggle a bunch as well. So
yeah, like I don't think mismatching is like something.
Mismatch hunting is really not the best way to do things unless it's like a really like obvious matchup like a Trae Young. Exactly.
Yeah, that's when you're like, okay. That's when you like put him in the action and basically tell them like, if you keep doing this, we're going to keep punishing you. And the Hawks can't really do that with Brunson because someone like Dyson Daniels runs the guard.
Yeah. So Jordan Bub brings up the next 10 games and he asks us what we think their record will be. So the next 10 games for the Knicks are tomorrow versus Brooklyn, Sacramento on Saturday, Memphis, Denver on ESPN, Lakers, Houston, Toronto, Boston on ABC, Indiana on TNT, and Atlanta to end this 10-game stretch.
All right. I guess I'll start it off. I think they beat Brooklyn. I think they beat Sacramento. They've been playing well, but I think that the fact that Sacramento doesn't have a backup center is probably going to bite them. That's an interesting team to trade for. Like that's probably a Jericho 16. I'm not even going to lie to you, but besides the point. Memphis, I think they lose to. Denver, I don't know about Denver. I feel like they could beat Denver. I feel like they could beat Denver, but I also feel like if they lose, I'd be like, it happens. But depends on the cat. But I think they can win that. Lakers, they'll beat the Lakers. I'm not really worried about them. Houston.
Oh wait, Houston's given us problems in the past.
Oh. I want to say they lose to that.
And Houston's been like playing like really well too.
Yeah, they've been doing the same thing. They've been doing the thing that we did like last year, where they just kind of grift for offensive rebounds, and that kind of juices their offensive rating. Wouldn't surprise me if they lost. Toronto, I think we beat. Boston, I think we beat. This is probably like the big one. Boston just looks off. They look off.
They've been inconsistent due to
honestly, I want to say they've been inconsistent because Jaylen Brown has came back to earth, and like guys like Drew Holiday and Al Horford look as old as they are. So that'll be really interesting. I think we beat Boston. It's the teams are so much different from than they were opening day. So it'll be an interesting game. But I think they beat Boston. Indiana, I think they can beat Atlanta. They beat. I can see them going like 5-5 across the stretch.
Fair.
This is a good mix of like a couple get right games and then like some good like interesting teams to beat.
It'll definitely be a lot of competitive games, or at least it should be. Like even the teams that like the Lakers and like Toronto, like these are a lot of teams that just play hard and like are going to like give you a fight every night. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how Cat looks in like some of these games, because like I feel like it's really gonna be dependent on like how his hand is holding up and like how much that affects the shooting, and because some of these matchups like they're gonna be really dependent on if Cat can like take advantage of some of these opponents.
Yep.
I think we beat Brooklyn. Hopefully they do, because I'll be in the building for that one. Should beat Sacramento. Even though Sacramento's been like rolling since they fired Mike Brown, which looks really bad on his part now. Memphis is one of those teams, man. They got a whole bunch of guys. They just got Gigi Jackson back. They legitimately are a team that can go grab like their 11th man and like he'll give them like 10 points and like solid production off the bench. Like today they played like 7 guys off the bench or something. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They played 7 guys off the bench today and they won.
Yeah, that's a damn nasty.
And like they're all like solid like NBA players, like Pippen Jr., who's been really good for them on some nights. Kennard, Clark, Aldama. They just got Gigi Jackson back. Like they're a team that they're going to be annoying as hell. Like they're probably going to bring like LaRavia off the bench in like the random like 8th minute of the third quarter to like see what he can give them to like give them a spark or something. Like it's going to be so annoying. But I am just interested to see how the Knicks play against a team that goes that deep. Because not a lot of teams in the league really go that deep into their bench. So, it kind of keeps their starters a little bit more fresh in that way, too.
But if the Knicks win that game, it'll be probably just due to rebounding, just because Jared Jackson Jr. as a rebounder is not.
He's been rebounding the ball pretty well, though, lately.
But for the most part, like the usual property.
Aldama, Clark, and Edie will definitely be people to watch on the glass for that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Like those guys really rebound the hell out of the ball. So I mean, I think that like 6-4 is viable. 5-5 is viable. I would hope that we don't go below 500 in this 10-game stretch, but it's not impossible because we've seen the Knicks go on a pretty bad stretch as of late recently. It's a matter of just like if the Knicks are just gonna play with the level of intensity they came out with today, as well as the amount of discipline that they had today as well, especially in that second half.
Yep.
I think we will cut things off after we have this last question. It says over under 1.5 current Knicks on the roster to have their jersey retired by us. I think Brunson definitely gets his jersey retired. I don't know. Like with Cat, it matters his tenure and what he does for us.
It's too late. Like,
yeah,
it'd have to be like 6 years of like.
He'd have to like finish out his career with the Knicks, and like they'd have to be like really great like years, especially like these first like 4 years or whatever it may be, and like it'd have to be like conference finals appearances, like, or even like even a finals appearance too.
They'd have to win a ring.
Honestly, yeah, but I think it's under 1.5, and in that one Knick, it would be Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, like Not even Josh Hart. Like I don't think Josh Hart would do it. No.
Nah.
Like I just think he gets like the Allen Houston kind of like glory where it's like, oh, Josh Hart's in the bar, I'll buy him a shot. If they win a championship though, it probably gets him retired. I'm not even gonna lie to you. He probably gets his ring. He probably gets his jersey retired if they win a ring.
Okay.
Because at that point, it's like the city loves him too much. Like I'm thinking about it. Like yeah, like if he gets a ring, then probably like someone like Cat and Josh Hart probably get it. Maybe not OG. Maybe not OG.
Nah.
Definitely not Mikhail.
Nah.
Like they're just gonna be like good guys. But
yeah. They'll be remembered in the city for sure. Like
yeah,
you see them be like, hey, you were on
like
that championship team.
Yeah, but like Josh Hart would like walk into any bar and like people would legitimately be like hugging him.
Yeah, no, it's for sure.
Like Carl Anthony Towns is like solid. Plus, I think those are the guys that like talk the most. Like, so it makes sense.
Yeah. All right. I think we'll end things off here. Knicks play again tomorrow. I will most likely be in the building for that game. So hopefully the Knicks do not disappoint. It's been my first Knicks game since the Evan Fournier debut in those nice classic jerseys that James Dolan decided to randomly retire in the middle of that year. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to a Knicks game, so hopefully the Knicks don't let me down because that last time I went was actually a really good experience. So yeah.
Well, not mine. Last time I went,
Hey, you got treated to a classic of Wemby versus Jalen Brunson, so can't really complain except for the loss, of course. The loss, but like I mean, in terms of like quality of a game to go to, like that's like peak quality right there.
Yeah, like $600 to watch them lose in overtime.
Jesus,
not fun.
I mean, these Barclays tickets are not too expensive. I mean, it's Barclays, so, but yeah,
the Clays.
But yeah, shout out to everyone that tuned in. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. I will probably be on Postgame for the Kings game. But yeah, check out all links in the description. We got links to the site, merch, Patreon, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you also check out, of course, us on Blue Sky. Everyone enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.